secondary, so there'll probably be some moving parts here over the weekend.
When you make that decision, Mike, is it purely on who, assuming Ryan's healthy, is it purely on who's playing better right now, or do you take into account things like Ryan's track record or Will's potential, things like that as well?
Yeah, I think with any position, you look for, who gives you the best opportunity to win and where you're at and what's best for the football team. So, we'll have those conversations over the weekend. We'll see where Ryan's health is. We'll see where some different guys are as health, but we're always just trying to figure out what gives us the best chance to win, what we can do to win a football game, especially one next week that's on the road.
When you're looking at that equation, though, how much does future balance into it as well? Whereas, obviously Levis is a guy of the future, Tannehill is the now. How do you balance that?
I think as a coach, you're focused on the football team, and that's finding a way to win. Winning is critical. I think just the way that everybody feels, the injury isn't as bad. The bumps and bruises aren't as bad. Just from everybody's attitude, I think that you have to focus on today and what's best for us today. And then, obviously, on the other hand, there is long-term implications for decisions that we make, whether that's looking at Kevin Byard and moving him to Philly. So I think that there is a balance there.
Will played last night.
Again, when we lose, nobody did a good enough job. I think there were some good plays. I think that there were some decisions that we can't make, and throwing the ball into cover two down the sidelines isn't something that is going to be very advantageous offensively if you're trying to take care of the football.
Have you had a chance to check on Traylon this morning, and how's he doing?
He's communicated via text. I think he's on his way in. And, again, from what it looked like, I would say that was probably it's going to be as good of a prognosis as what it could have been. Just looking at the visual of all that, and that's, we understand what the risks are involved, and Traylon sold out to make a play, and unfortunately didn't. But I'm hopeful, and we're all hopeful that we'll get him back as soon as possible.
Did he get knocked out, or what was his injury?
He's in concussion protocol, and then there was a brief loss of consciousness. That's why they reacted in the manner in which they did. It sounds like that everybody did exactly what they're supposed to do based on the protocol, and making sure that Traylon's well-being was looked after as quickly and as correctly as possible.
Mike, what's happening that the run defense has not been as effective the last month or so as it was earlier in the year?
Well, there are moments. If you look back in the month, and if you look back and say, not that the quarterback doesn't count as rushing yards, right? But Lamar had a couple, and Ritter had some. So I don't think it was awful. Last night was a different story. That was, those were some base runs. We got to do a better job on the edge. The ball got on the edge, creased us inside on a couple traps. That we have to fit better. We have to get off blocks. It's no real secret. If you're in split safety, you got to make the ball go lateral, and you got to trigger and tackle. If you're in post safety, everybody's got a gap that they have to be responsible for, and then once the ball declares, being able to shed with good technique, have separation, not be on body, right? You got to play with separation. They're going to hold, right? And the only way that you ever get a call is by having some separation and being able to shed at the point of attack and allow them to see that. So I'm not saying that they were holding us. It's just fundamental run defense, that you set an edge, everybody fits where they're supposed to fit. When the ball declares, you shed, and you tackle.
Is there a consistent missing element, like in the last 4 games in particular, you guys are giving up big numbers? Is there one consistent thing in those 4 that you could point to that's not working or missing?
Well, no, they got the edge twice, right? There were 2 big ones on the edge. They had 2, a 15 and a 14 that hit up the middle. So, sometimes what happens is it's like, okay, I got to try to make a play, and I peek inside, or I get a little too tight, or I get knocked out of my gap, and then I got to show back up. Instead of playing the block, sometimes you would look for the football, as opposed to just playing the block and knowing exactly where the ball's going based on what they're blocking and how they're blocking you. So a lot of it is fundamental, and you have to be committed to doing it. Guy blocks you, you got to lock out, limit the space, right? Guy flashes, guy pulls, you got to fit the run, you got to go spill, you got to hold up on a double team. That's what happens. And then all those things, before we start yelling at each other, go ahead, Joe.
I was just saying, so more freelancing than there you.
No, I don't want to say like freelancing. It's just, you can't really, I could go through one by one every double-digit run. And so whether that's a freelance, somebody being in the wrong spot, somebody getting, just blocked, right? They block you. Somebody getting knocked over on a double team, us not fitting a gap scheme, somebody needing to spill, not getting it spilled, whether it's a toss crack and somebody's got to get up and in and somebody's got to overlap or miss tackle. There's a lot of those just things that come up. So I wouldn't say that it's one particular thing based on the multitude of answers that I try to give you, because those are all things that have happened.
In terms of pass rush, you've said several times during this drought that guys just need to win, haven't been winning. Jeff, we conveyed that answer to Jeff last night and a couple times through this. He doesn't seem accepting of that idea. Is it hard for a guy like that to accept a verdict like that from his coach?
Well, I don't know. I just know that they can only. I'm sorry.
Is there a matter of denial from him that's
I'm not gonna speak for Jeff, but I will speak in pass rush. Right? They've got 5 offensive linemen. There's 4 defensive linemen. They can double team one guy. We have to do a better job winning one-on-one. We have to do a better job of scheming. And when we scheme, we need to execute. When we work together with someone, we need to work and communicate what the game is, all these things that we've done and have done this year, have done in the past. But it comes down to one-on-one, whether it's in coverage, whether it's in route, whether it's us blocking and them rushing or us rushing and them blocking. Like that's, if somebody gets the back, you got to win. If you're on the tight end, you got to win. Like these things have gone on well before this year in pro football.
Simmons had mentioned also that Kenny Pickett, which we saw, he was getting rid of the ball quickly, and that factored into it. From your perspective, is that?
I didn't track the, I didn't track the. They hit a couple plays down the field, but I didn't track how long they came out.
For the most part, it seemed like
I didn't measure, how a bunch of bubbles. Again, that. Right, so the run reliefs that they have a run called and he bubbles it out there. But the third down is where you're going to be able to, you have to be able to create some impact, right? You have to be able to coordinate the rush and the coverage. And so to Jeff's point, that if they throw a bubble, like nobody's going to affect, the quarterback necessarily on a bubble pass outside.
How did Ravens do, and also the brief look you got at Jalen Duncan?
I thought Dylan battled. It's good to see him be able to be ready to go and take advantage of his opportunity and compete. We'll keep working with Jalen, and make sure that he's, doing everything he can, and if he gets an opportunity here, be ready to go.
Mike, do you feel like this defensive coaching staff has the ability, like has the resources, the players to be able to turn the defense around?
Do you think we have the resources?
Like
The players?
on the team to be able
We got
to-
the players that, we've got guys we've made, we've committed to some guys up front, for long term. And, again, they were able to impact the game up front against Atlanta. There's a fine line. I've been talking with these guys this morning about, how much do you scheme, right? How much do you scheme, and how much do you want to, get good at some stuff so that, you're able to adjust to multiple things that teams are doing each and every week, right? Or if you're just going to hang your hat on, a bunch of scheme, if that doesn't get executed, pretty darn close to perfect, you may have some gaps, and you may have some opportunities for big plays. So I think it's a fine line between looking at who you have and trying to get really good at something and knowing where your weaknesses are. And then there's also a good balance that, let's try to find some ways to scheme some things and to get a guy on a back on third down, and then they have to win.
You mentioned things like peeking and trying too hard to make a play when you look up front. It's not the first time you've mentioned that this year. I take it that's been a point of emphasis for you guys. So why do those things keep recurring if they've been probably a point of emphasis for you guys in game planning?
It's not a point of emphasis in game planning. It's how you stop the run in the National Football League. So
how often can you make that the message without the message seemingly translating into
Well,
results?
there are. It's not. It's not every single run, right? It's just the ones that cost you, and unfortunately, sometimes those, guy makes a play, when there is another mistake, and somebody can erase that mistake. Looking at last night down the sidelines, Weave might have got too tight on the tackle. Warren bounced it out. Terrell was going to fit inside, and then the ball bounced, and they bumped into each other. Like I don't know what to tell you, other than to set the edge, stay there, and let Terrell come in and make a tackle and let everybody else swarm. So that's what happens. And then there's other runs where it's -2 or no gain. It's just. You can't relax, and you can't just say, okay, they're not going to run it, or we have to know what the call is and understand that, we, just like I said, if it's a split safety defense, we have to do everything in our power to make the ball go lateral and then go run inside out and not let it crease us right down the middle. So, but it's good, again, it's the X plays that we talked about, missed tackle, misfit, all those reasons, and so we got to be better.
Understanding the defensive issues that you're talking about, still only gave up 20. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Go ahead. We got to score more points.
I'm confounded by the settling for field goals and the unwillingness to push to get touchdowns and the why do you not talk more about the offense's inefficiency to get touchdowns and focus so much on the defense when they're only giving up 20?
Because I know what it's supposed to look like in all three phases. And again, in that particular situation, we all felt like made a bad decision to go to Hop on first down, missed Tajay, on second down. And instead of making what would have been a costly mistake, I felt like taking the lead on the road and ensuring that to happen on 3rd and 10 was the right decision. And so that, again, you can say, settling for not scoring touchdowns, just trying to weigh the best way to try to win a football game. The best way that I felt like at that time, based on the circumstances, based on how the game was going. There was other times we get the ball on the 9-yard line and we gain 5 yards on 1st down. Probably if Derek stiff arms the guy, we probably score. We gained 2 yards on 2nd down and ultimately scored on 3rd down. But there were 3 plays of at least what you would call efficiency. And again, they weren't at the end of the half. So now you're, sitting there, in the mid-red or high red with 3rd and 10, and I just felt like that was what was best for us at that time. So
Tajay gets twisted up on that play. It seemed like it was more on him. It was a decent throw. And you say, well, we can't try that again because our rookie running back got tied up.
No, I don't think that. I think we need to throw a better ball at that point, and just I think whether it's Tajay, whether it's Will, I get when you lose your everything that we do. We need to evaluate and understand why at that particular time. I'm just telling you that I felt like that was what was best for the football team, and not putting them in a 3rd down pass rush mode and 3rd and 10 and forcing the ball in there, making sure that we were smart with the ball. I'd love for you guys to look. It was a pretty favorable look. It was a 5-man box. Should have gained much more than 1 yard. There was 5 guys in there. We should block them and try to gain more yards than the 1. It was a pretty favorable look to run even on 3rd and 10.
Just one more, if I may. The idea that the 2 previous balls dictate that you don't give them a 3rd chance to throw the ball. Are there other examples in a game where you say, oh, these 2 plays eliminate the possibility of a 3rd play?
No, I just think that in that situation, you want to make sure, again, we don't have a whole lot of time to talk through things and say, hey, are you okay? Whether you decide to try to throw it into, again, down the sidelines and cover 2, we don't want to do those types of things. And, just the way that particular thing played out, that instance, that's what I decided to do.
Should you just put it right on Tajay? Is that what you were saying on that play?
I just think we need to find a way to complete that pass to open guys, and Will knows that. And any quarterback would know that, whether Tajay got turned around or anything else. The execution has to be better in all 3 phases. It does.
How much of that situation is a rookie quarterback in there that doesn't have a lot of experience versus maybe a veteran who, like,
I don't know. I can't tell you, because there was only 1 quarterback in there. He was in his 6th quarter of professional football. We were going to take the lead and go to halftime and get the ball. And I'm sure would like to have not gone 3 and out after we took it at halftime, but that was the decision that I made.
You said that run should have gotten what?
I'm saying when you run the football against 5 guys in the box, you should probably gain more than 1 yard. Like that was the fact. No, 19. We only needed 9 more. We had a timeout. So, but we'll see.
Would you have thrown it if you got 9 more?
We didn't. Which is a hypothetical.
Last week you had said when you were asked about Tannehill being healthy, being the starter, you said you would imagine that be the case. This week you're saying like you're going to.
I'm saying that I'm going to tell you everything that I can tell you on Tuesday as it relates to the depth chart at quarterback, at tackle, at cornerback. I'll tell you everything that I can possibly tell you based on Ryan's health, based on the health of everybody else. I'm not willing to discuss hypotheticals when everybody gets back and who is available and who's not available. I'll update you.
At quarterback, are you saying that it's?
I just told you what I was saying. I said that when Ryan is healthy, I will have a decision for you.
I like the fact that Will has been so aggressive about those downfield throws, or do you feel like at times he needs to maybe rein it in at all?
No, at times, we love them when we complete them, right? You guys like them when we complete them, but we don't like them when we don't complete them. And again, if it's a favorable look, take a shot. And because in that case it was trailing, and we liked the play, just like Pittsburgh liked the shot, on 3rd and 6 to Deontay Johnson.
Can you give us a sense?
But not making bad decisions into some poor coverage looks.
Did you think that Levis's throw on the ball that Spears fell down is why Spears fell down? Because you talked about needing to execute that play, but I don't understand how you're going to execute the play when the receiver falls down.
Just got to hit it next time. It's everybody's fault. We didn't score. We didn't score a touchdown. We didn't complete the pass. So it was put it on the call, put it on me, put it on the quarterback, put it on the running back, put it on everybody. It was an incomplete pass.
Had he made bad throws prior to you not letting him throw on the 3 downs on the second to last series?
No, he was. Everything was perfect. Everything was just spot on, perfect, Paul. And I made a decision. You guys disagree with it, and that's the decision that I made that I felt like was best for our football team at the end of half. And
in the second to last series. Did you tell Tim not to throw there, or is that Tim not?
No, we ran a reverse to trailing. Should have blocked the linebacker. Didn't. Traylon made a great individual effort to gain as many yards as he did. So we were ahead of the chains. It was 4-down territory. Tried to, again, felt like giving Tajay an opportunity there on 3rd down, and then didn't hit the 4th down one.
Can you, Mike, give us a sense of how, if any, what you're working with your front 5 and the offensive line may or may not impact how you guys approach?
I think it's too soon right now. Guys are still just getting MRIs, and give Daniel Brunskill a lot of credit for competing and fighting through. It's some sort of injury. Nick couldn't finish. Pretty much all of them went down for a snap or two, but we'll know more here after this weekend and how everybody's feeling, and again where we feel like we could put guys. I think Chris Hubbard has a chance to practice and work his way through concussion protocol.
Must be running re-aggravate the thumb, or he just couldn't go with it?
Yeah, just probably both.
Some of those depth chart moves, is it all injury?
I don't know if they're moves. I just said I'm going to update you guys after this weekend. So
primarily, and not necessarily.
Well, we only have so many guys. We'll again, if we feel like there's somebody that can help us, we'll try to get them in there, whether they're on a practice squad or we work them out or we bring them in there from somewhere else. I think that we got to look at everybody.
Mike, 9 games left in this season. Out of the 5 losses, only 1 was a blowout. Where do you think that this team is at this point?
Thanks for noticing, Teresa.
I'm sorry?
I said thanks for noticing. Well, we are, halfway through, and I thought, again, what I told the team, contrary to popular belief, but at halftime I said we're back in a race. We're back in a race, and let's finish this half. So we got some ground to make up, but you do it one game at a time. You do it one practice at a time. And I'm confident that we'll do that and figure out a way to win on the road, which has avoided us up until this point for a number of reasons. And just have to be a little bit better in all phases, a little cleaner. Staying more efficient, turning the football over, getting some stops, and being better in 3rd down, and giving our team. We had a short field and didn't capitalize.
What makes you confident you can do that when you've not consistently done it all season?
I've got belief in the players. I got people belief in the coaching staff to get guys prepared. I don't think it's effort. I think with all the mistakes and everything else, and then whatever else happens, you know, we play just good enough to make it close. So we have to, you know, eliminate the few plays. Seemed like every time they needed a play, they made it. I talked about that last night, and we weren't unfortunately able to. So games are close. We understand that, and I think the way that we play and our ability to compete make them that way. Thanks, guys. I hope you have a great weekend.
Thank you. You too.
We'll come back.